Welcome, you mysterious souls, to the place where time twists and turns, revealing stories buried in the dust of 1,000 years. Tonight, as darkness falls on the world, we will not simply follow the moonlight, but will soar on the wings of our imagination, over the majestic peaks of the Andes, to a desolate land where wordless secrets have been engraved in the heart of the desert. Close your eyes, and feel the breath of the dry wind from ancient times. Thousands of years ago, when the pyramids of Egypt had not yet taken shape, when the Roman highways had not yet been paved, in a hidden corner of the South American continent, on the vast Nazca Plateau, an ancient culture performed an extraordinary feat. An act that, to this day, we can only whisper in amazement. From the ground, you would see only jagged rocks, endless sand dunes, where life struggles for every breath. But if you had eyes that could see through the mists of time, if a soul could soar into the blue sky, you would see a giant woven fabric, a great painting not by mortal artists, but by ancient, powerful hands. Long, drawn lines, strange shapes, a monkey with a spiral tail like a code, a hummingbird soaring in the air, a face with large round eyes staring straight into nothingness, and countless perfect geometries, all were deeply etched into the dry soil, stretching out like the imprints of gods, or souls who had come from the unknown. These are the Nazca Lines, an astronomical map. A giant altar. A message to the distant stars, a welcome, a prayer. Did their creators receive light from somewhere beyond this world, or were they masters of the secrets of the universe, who found a way to communicate with supernatural forces? Tonight, we will not only learn about these lines. We will listen to their whispers, we will enter together into the spiritual world of the ancients, to try to lift the veil of time, to seek the truth behind one of the greatest and most fascinating legacies of the past. Open your minds, because we are about to embark on a journey not for the faint-hearted. Let's go back to the beginning, when the Nazca Desert was a wild and sacred land, where the ancient spirits of the Nazca culture lived. No one knows exactly when the first hands began this great work, but the traces show that, from about 200 BC to 600 AD, over an area of more than 450 square kilometers, a mystery was carved into the earth, giant lines and drawings, geoglyphs, whose meaning and purpose still challenge modern intelligence. These are not painted pictures, but permanent scars on the surface of the earth. The ancient Nazca people used the most primitive tools, wooden stakes, ropes woven from plant fibers, and sometimes rocks for support, to remove the dark red gravel that covered the desert. Beneath, a lighter layer of soil emerged, creating contrasting, striking lines. The wonder is that, after thousands of years, the lines have survived almost intact, protected by the harsh desert climate, where rain is a myth, and the wind can only caress, not erase, the marks of the gods. The invisible beings, giant birds spread their wings as if to fly to eternity, monkeys with spiral tails as a symbol of eternal mystery, spiders with 8 perfect legs like an astronomical code, or fish, lizards, dogs. Each shape is a spirit, a symbol of life, of strength, or of a god hidden in nature, sacred geometry, straight lines stretching to infinity, giant trapezoids opening like gates, triangles, spirals so perfect that one wonders whether they were drawn by mere human hands, or a knowledge from another world, traces of a communication, sometimes, simple lines cut through complex drawings, creating an incomprehensible network, like a map, a diagram of a communication system that we cannot yet understand. Among all these carvings, there is one that stirs the heart, a figure whose existence has sparked the most daring theories. It is the alien, or owl man, a round face, large black eyes, an oval head, and a waving arm like a visitor from the void. Is this the portrait of a god who has come down to earth, or the memory of an encounter that mortal minds cannot forget? This image has become the fuel for questions about interstellar intervention, about visitors from distant worlds. Who were the creators of these works? They were the Nazca people, an ancient and mysterious culture that lived in this land thousands of years before the rise of the Inca Empire. They had no horses, no wheels, no advanced metal technology. So how did they create these colossal masterpieces, so perfect in every detail, that can only be fully admired from above, from a place where ordinary people cannot set foot? This raises a profound question: did they have the ability to see things from an angle that we cannot imagine, or were they guided by some superior intelligence, a light from another realm? Some scholars, still mired in skepticism, have attempted to reconstruct the Nazca's methods. They propose that the ancients may have used a complex system of stakes and ropes, projecting small drawings onto a gigantic scale. Or they may have chosen nearby hilltops as observatories from which to inspect their work. But even if those methods are possible, the scale of the work, the extraordinary patience, and the level of organization required by the Nazca people are still astonishing. It was not just a feat of engineering, but an act of faith, an expression of service to a greater purpose. So what was the real purpose of these giant markings? Why would the Nazca people spend their lives, generation after generation, carving images that could only be seen by birds of the air, or by otherworldly flyers? This question has consumed the minds of truth seekers, leading to countless theories, from prayers to the heavens, to messages to visitors from the stars. Each theory opens a window into the mysterious world of the Nazca people, but none can reveal the whole truth. As the sun burned the desert, and darkness enveloped the Great Lines, it was believed that the ancient spirits of Nazca saw another world, a world that we, with our mortal eyes, could not comprehend. For them, the lines carved into the earth were not just art, but a language, a sacred bridge between the mortal world and the spirit world. One of the oldest and most widely accepted explanations whispers that these giant drawings are giant altars, eternal prayers to the gods in the sky. In a land where life depends entirely on every drop of rain, where rivers and streams can dry up at any moment, the Nazca people had to turn to supernatural powers. Hummingbirds, symbols of life and rain. Spiders, creatures that bring the omen of water. Fish, a precious food source from the rivers. These shapes, carved into the earth in great size, were perhaps giant charms, offerings to the gods, echoing the deep prayers of a people yearning for life. Rituals, sacred processions may have taken place along these lines, where people merged with the earth and sky, calling out to the supreme beings. The close connection between these lines and ancient astronomy is undeniable. It is said that the Nazca people were masters of the sky, who read the codes of the stars and drew them on the ground. Maria Reich, a goddess of the Nazca desert who devoted her life to protecting and studying the lines, believed that many of the lines and animal figures were magically aligned with the stars, the rising and setting of important constellations, or the solstices and equinoxes of the sun. If this whisper is true, then the Nazca Plateau was not just a desolate desert, but a giant map of the universe, a perpetual calendar carved into the earth. It may have been used to track planting and harvesting times, to predict natural fluctuations, or even to record the cosmic knowledge they had accumulated over thousands of years. The precision of the lines, especially the long straight ones, suggests a profound understanding of geometry and an astonishing ability to observe the cosmos, far beyond what we would expect from a civilization that relied on only rudimentary tools. Some theories are more obscure, suggesting that the lines were not meant to be seen, but experienced. The wide paths, the giant trapezoids, were perhaps ceremonial paths, where the faithful moved on sacred pilgrimages. Each step on those predetermined paths could have been an act of purification, of connecting with the spirit world, a way to absorb energy from the earth or the cosmos. The fact that they did not need to see the whole pattern from the ground may not have been a flaw, but part of the ritual, because the real meaning lies in the journey, in the feeling, not in the overall view. The fragments of pottery and other small artifacts found scattered across the Nazca Plateau add to the mystery. They often depict animals and supernatural symbols, much like the drawings in the desert. These may be traces of offerings and rituals that took place thousands of years ago, a whisper of the deep beliefs that the Nazca people held in their hearts. So, are the Nazca Lines a letter to the gods, a book of the universe written in the language of lines, or a map for spiritual pilgrimage? Whatever interpretation strikes your heart, one thing is clear: these lines are a testament to an ancient wisdom, an ability to connect with nature and the universe in a way that we have perhaps forgotten today. They stand there, silent, waiting for a soul deep enough to listen to their whispers, whispers of the eternal secrets of the desert. When all explanations from science and ancient beliefs still seemed unable to fully capture the majesty and incomprehensibility of the lines on the desert, souls yearning for the extraordinary came up with a bold hypothesis, a whisper that penetrated through space and time. Could these giant marks be evidence of visitors from the stars, beings who had come from distant worlds, carrying with them wisdom far beyond the mortal world? This is the core of the ancient astronaut theory, an idea that has spread around the world like a fairy tale about gods who have come down to earth. According to this story, the Nazca Lines were not meant for the eyes of mortals, nor were they offered to gods born on earth. They were meant for people from the sky, mysterious visitors who had visited this arid land since ancient times. They may have been beings of superior intelligence, gods with shining spacecraft, who had found a way to communicate with the ancient Nazca people. Believers in this explanation often point to the extraordinary grandeur and precision of the lines. How could ancient tribes, without planes or balloons, have created shapes that could only be clearly seen from above? Were they guided by a superior intelligence, a light from the stars that guided their hands? The long straight lines, the vast trapezoids, in the eyes of these theorists, are not ceremonial trails, but ancient runways, places where the ships of visitors from the stars could land or take off on secret visits. And the mysterious alien figure, with its large round head, dark eyes and distant waving gesture, further supports the belief in an extraterrestrial connection. Could this be a portrait of one of these mysterious visitors, a reminder that we are not alone in this vast universe? Did the Nazca people draw images of those who have come and gone, leaving inexplicable marks on the desert? Skeptics, who believe only in what can be touched and measured, have dismissed this explanation. They argue that there is no physical evidence of extraterrestrial technology, no trace of a spaceship. They assert that the wisdom and patience of the ancients have been underestimated, that these lines could have been created by simple but ingenious methods. Yet the incredible precision, especially in complex geometries, still defies purely human explanation. In addition to the celestial visitors, there are other whispers, more mysterious theories about the hidden power of these lines, Earth energy circuits. Some believe that the Nazca Desert is a special place where ley lines, invisible energy lines of the Earth, converge. The Nazca Lines, according to this story, are not just drawings, but a giant network, a system to tap or direct energy from the Earth for mysterious purposes, perhaps to communicate with other realms, or to heal the wounds of the body and soul, gateways to other worlds. There are even rumors that some drawings or intersections of the lines may be gateways, or connections, to other dimensions, where the boundary between this world and the other world becomes blurred. Ancient spirits may have known how to open these portals, or received messages from them. Whichever whisper you choose to believe, whether your heart is set on science or myth, one thing is undeniable: the Nazca Lines are a powerful testament to the limitlessness of human mystery and imagination. They are a wordless invitation, a riddle carved into the earth in the distant past, daring us to look beyond what the eye can see, and listen to the wordless sounds of the past. And perhaps, in the silence of the desert, as the shadows fall and the ancient stars emerge, it is precisely this lack of complete answers that makes the Nazca Lines one of the most beautiful and fascinating mysteries on this planet. They are a reminder that there are wonders in this world far beyond our understanding, and that the greatest secrets are often kept by time itself. And the earth itself. Though thousands of years have passed since the first carvings were made, the Nazca Desert still holds countless traces, fragments of a vanished culture, lingering whispers of a great secret. Every grain of sand, every stone beneath our feet could be a piece of the puzzle, a clue to the buried truth. When the first explorers set foot on the Nazca Plateau at the beginning of the last century, they were amazed by what they saw. Giant lines, strange drawings lying dormant under the dust of time. They tried to decipher, tried to record, but it seemed that every answer opened up 10 more questions. How could an ancient culture create these things without modern technology? This is a question that has haunted not only scientists, but also dreamers and those who aspire to the extraordinary. Small artifacts excavated from areas near the Nazca Lines also carry messages from the past. Pottery fragments with stylized animal and human figures, intricately woven textiles in vibrant colors, all tell of a rich worldview where the natural and the supernatural intertwine. They show that the Nazca people were not savages but rather an organized, artistic, and complexly religious society. But what drove such a culture to devote all its energies to carving such gigantic shapes into the desert? Were the drawings related to sacrificial rituals, or were there hidden prophecies within them? Some modern theories, while still unproven, have shed some light on the wisdom of the Nazca people. Some have suggested that the lines may have been part of an ancient irrigation system, a way to mark underground water sources or the direction of their flow. They have found puquios, elaborate underground water tunnels, and wonder if there is some connection between the hidden water channels and the giant drawings on the surface. If so, The lines are not just art, but a survival map, a legacy of survival wisdom in the harsh desert. And the biggest question remains: what drove their creators to disappear? There is no trace of a devastating war, no evidence of a large-scale migration. Did a sudden change in climate, an endless drought, or a series of terrible flash floods wipe them out? Or was it a mysterious disease, an ancient curse that inflicted death and forced them to abandon their great works? The Nazca Desert holds these secrets, revealing nothing. Every time a new figure is discovered, every time a new piece of pottery is unearthed, we are challenged by the past. The mysteries of Nazca are not only historical puzzles, but also an invitation to reflect on the transience of all things, on the civilizations that flourished and then fell into oblivion. Are we repeating their mistakes, or will we learn from the lessons that the Nazca Desert quietly tells us? And then, when night falls again on the Nazca Plateau, when the ancient stars twinkle in the sky, those giant lines still lie there, saying nothing. They are a living testimony to things beyond understanding, secrets that perhaps only the ancient spirits truly hold. The traces of time are still deep, and the true answer may still lie beyond our reach, lost in the eternal darkness of the desert and the stars. As the dawn broke over the Nazca Plateau, painting the ancient lines in gold, a sense of peace and depth enveloped us. The giant drawings, carved into the ground thousands of years ago, lay there, silent, saying not a word, but their echoes reverberated in our souls more powerfully than any words. The legacy of the Nazca people is not one of magnificent cities or mighty empires, but one of silence and unspoken questions. They have left us a giant map of mysteries, a book written in lines in the desert, inviting every soul to explore. Every spider, every monkey, every line, is not just a line, but a symbol of a forgotten language, a message from an era we can only vaguely sense. Perhaps the true purpose of these lines is beyond our wildest imagination. They are not just altars, not just astronomical calendars, not just traces of visitors from the stars. Perhaps they are all of these things combined into one, a complex whole that modern minds are still struggling to understand. They are the manifestation of an ancient wisdom, a profound understanding of the universe and the connection between humans and the supernatural. A wisdom that saw things that we, limited by the material world, no longer recognize. We might wonder, did the Nazca people live in a world where the lines between reality and fantasy were more blurred? Were they able to communicate with other realms, or see beings we call aliens? Were the lines an attempt to communicate with those realms, or a way to anchor some divine power to their land? We cannot know for sure, but their existence forever suggests possibilities beyond conventional understanding. And then, as we leave the Nazca Plateau, as the giant drawings fade into the distance, we are left with an indescribable sense of wonder. These lines are a powerful reminder that not everything can be explained, not every secret can be revealed. Some things are so deep in the past that we can only stand there, admire, and listen to the whispers of the wind carrying the stories of eternity. This legacy of silence will continue to fascinate us. It is an eternal call, a constant invitation to the soul to explore, to keep searching, to keep pondering the limits of human understanding. And perhaps it is in that eternal mystery, in the silence of the Nazca Desert, that we find the true beauty of history, where the unsolved stories will forever be an endless source of inspiration for the human imagination and the yearning for the extraordinary.